y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is a collective coffee, which I haven't done in a while, but we need to do today. So a couple things. Let's go ahead and start with the United States and then branch out, because that's how I will keep audience. So Donald Trump just initiated this war on DC yesterday. So today's Monday, 8/11, which, fun fact, was my due date, but anyway. So I'm seeing feds are out in force checking papers reported by Flare.USA, Flare.USA, I don't know what that is, to say they're a part of the surge. Glad we voted in a police state, but at least our grocery prices are down. Grocery prices are not down. Anyway, these are images directly from DC, but this was 8/10, so that's what, Saturday? That's added sound. That's added sound. I'm gonna turn that down. Just the visual is important. So what he said in his Truth Social blurb was that, hang on, did I share it? He said something about homeless folks being in, I feel like this will be easy to find, hang on. Oh my god. Trump. Ew. Okay, I don't want to do that. Okay, hang on. Trump says he's planning placing Washington, D.C. Police Department under federal control and deploying the National Guard. This was just posted 30 minutes ago.
Today in D.C. and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
Okay.
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is?
You don't.
And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct
Curl my hair today.
federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they...
Okay, that's what narcissists sound
announcing
like.
a historic
I
act.
can't stand this man.
I'm announcing it.
What they're doing, though, is they're going to be rounding up homeless folks, and they are putting, because the National Guard is being deployed, that can give them the ability to put in a curfew, which kind of falls along the lines of martial law. Trump announced he's taking federal control of the DC Police Department and deploying the National Guard. Crackdown on crime. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs, and homeless people, and we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. The Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act allows him to temporarily take control of the district's police department if he determines special conditions of emergency nature exist. He is also deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law and order. During his Monday morning press conference, Trump said that DC is just the beginning, mentioning New York City, Oakland, and Baltimore. If you are in any of those cities, obviously the time is now to get things in order for your family or your friends or your community, all of the above. The important thing that, okay, so back in, it was during Joseph Biden's term. So somewhere, I think it was before the pandemic, though. Maybe it was at the end of Trump's first term. I don't remember the time frame exactly. But at one point, so Baby Daddy is a human rights organizer in Skid Row, and Skid Row is the homeless capital of the nation. So there was a visit that Trump did to downtown LA. Again, I don't remember what year. I feel like he wasn't in his own presidency, but I do know it was before COVID, so it must have been at the very end. It must have been in 2019. Because the reason I know that is because he used the word quarantine before quarantine was a thing with COVID. And Trump said, well, when he saw LA and when he saw the homeless crisis, he said, well, we just need to quarantine them all off, or something like that. Now, the homeless crisis in Los Angeles goes back decades, right? And some of the things that people have tried to do, at one point there was a push for loading up like a retired cruise ship full of, or like even a military ship full of homeless folks, and it was fought by human rights organizers because they're like, seems like you're probably just gonna pull the anchor on that and let that float away. No. Right? So supportive, affordable housing is the key to homelessness. But when you live in an oligarch, which we're all getting to experience together, the rich decide who gets to survive, who gets to serve them. So what's happening is this mass rounding up of able-bodied people for slave labor, okay? Now there are a lot of people that are being killed. I don't know if this is common knowledge. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but there has been a lot of conversation in the past month or so about following some of these flight logs, 2 months, because that big raid that happened in LA was on June 6th. So anyway, people have been following the cargo plane flight logs that people have been loaded up on in Shekels, and they are only going like midway, right? They're just going out to the ocean and turning around. Now it became a big discussion when people are like, hey, aren't those the planes that you can open mid-flight? Like, aren't those the only kind of planes you can open mid-flight? So people are maybe being pushed out, and then people found bodies in, where was it, Spain? So people must have been dropped in the Atlantic Ocean, which isn't on the same coast as Los Angeles. But regardless, there have been at least 3 dozen bodies that have washed up in Shekels in foreign countries. That is a thing. Okay, so people are being put in alligator Alcatraz. There's more of these encampments being made all over. So I just want people to really have a good understanding of what the fuck is going on. Now, in regards to global news, Israel and Palestine, let's talk about that. Yesterday, Israel carried out a massacre of journalists, Al Jazeera journalists. At least 5 of them were murdered. And what we've known from the past, since October 7th of 2023, since this genocide has been carried out very publicly at a global scale, is that when they go after the journalists, it is because they are going to up the ante on the ground, and they don't want anyone to bear witness to that. Now, it was decided last week that the cabinet of Israel decided that they were going to 100% occupy Gaza, with bodies on the ground, which arguably they've already been doing for a very long time. But in this sense, this is the final push of a genocide. Now, why are you tripping? It is always tripping. It drives me crazy. These are the stages of genocide. So, classification, symbolization, discrimination, dehumanization, organization, polarization, preparation, persecution, extermination. So we've been in the extermination phase in regards to Palestine, also in Congo and Sudan. But Congo and Sudan are not getting as much circulation, mostly because, anti-blackness, but also because when we look at Congo and what's happening in Congo, it definitely makes us have to look at ourselves with our technology and with the things that we get that are because of that slave labor, right? So after extermination is denial, perpetrators deny involvement and blame victims, which we've seen the victim blaming the entire time. Hey, take a break if you need to, hun. He's probably gonna come in here and freak the fuck out. But I just want to put this on everyone's radar. Trump said that there are other cities. LA, I think LA is this microcosm of the immigration policy right now. So now he's going to start with DC. If you are in an urban environment, you already know, there's extra policing, there's extra surveillance. Really important to build like tight networks of people, community, to support each other and have each other's backs. But the thing that's intense and what other people are talking about is in DC is that because of the government taking over the National Guard, and just so you know, if you have taken an oath for the United States military, shame on you for not taking your oath seriously. These are unconstitutional things that are happening, and your job is to protect the Constitution and the citizens, so fuck off. And also, with the curfews, people aren't going to be able to witness. So there's that parallel of witnessing that's happening here in the United States and in Israel. I mean, I don't know how people have watched what's happened in Palestine for the past few years and seen that at a global scale, and we've literally watched it live and not been able to make a parallel to, okay, if this is happening and no one's stopping it, maybe it's going to expand. Duh, right? So, if you are in DC, best of luck to you. Obviously, I don't think a lot of people on my channel are, going to see this. People don't even watch Collective Coffees right now because of the apathy and ignorance. But yeah, it's that famous saying, they came for them and them and them, and then they came for me and no one was left. So if you haven't spoken up about any injustice that you've seen, why? If you haven't even educated yourself on the things that are going on, why? So just wanted to put this here. Remember that just because we are not experiencing everything doesn't mean that it's not being experienced. Just because something is happening, across an ocean or in a different city or state than us does not mean that it's not happening, okay? Does not mean that it's not important to pay attention to. So do your best to find that balance between what's happening in your own world and the things that are happening at a larger scale, because this is how they get away with it. They get away with it because people don't care. They don't want to see it. They don't, it's not me. And, American and Israel populations are very much the same in that audacity and also privilege. And, yeah. So, have a good one. But any news or anything you see coming out of DC, any sort of resistance that you see or any sort of colonial shit, share the information. Instagram just got a repost option, which I'm very grateful for. And again, remember that part of that is to collect metadata. So as someone who shares world events on my Instagram, I am very aware that while I'm going to be reposting it, I'm also going to be accruing my own metadata on certain lists. And I'm totally fine with that because I have nothing to live for if humanity is going that way, right? And I think that's where most people fall off is, you know, you want to survive and you want to do this, and at the cost of what? Aren't you seeing what they're doing to people? If you don't have the ability to understand where this is going, I would say do some research, okay? Do you want to turn into a half robot being that is forced into slave labor? Do you want to live on a planet where babies are being incubated in machines instead of in women? Do you want to live on a planet that has normalized genocide, the bombing and amputations of children, the starvation and rape of children? That's where we are, friends. These are not conspiracy theories. That's where we are. So, okay, bye.